welcome to another installment of the Fragments of Silicon Reviews. This week we have two reviews. First up, the Golf Club 2019 featuring PGA Tour. So if you recall, we did an interview about this with HB Studios a couple months ago. And there were actually some developments, secret developments, last-minute developments that happened between then and now. Namely, 2K Games picked up the publishing rights. Now, what that means for the actual game is nothing. Nothing has changed. Nothing, as far as I can see. It was too. By the time they got the game was done. So, they couldn't stuff it filled with microtransactions or anything like that. If you're worried about, seeing the name 2K floating around a sports game, which is understandable.
They don't charge you $2 real world bucks for 100 golf balls.
Yeah, and
that would suck.
I mean, some of the shit that they've done in their mainline sports games is, kind of beyond the pale. I mean, I think the apex was still last year's NBA 2K18, where they charged you for facial hair. That was so bad they didn't do that in this year's iteration. For them to go back on something, some DLC chicanery is, quite the something. No. The golf club here, you do things the old-fashioned way. As in, there's a lot of stuff to unlock. And indeed, one of my big issues about the beginning portion of the game, when you're making your avatar and anything, is pretty much all the clothing options are closed. You can.
So yeah, you're stuck with pretty normal, boring clothes.
Yeah, it's maybe you can change your blue pants to blue shorts, but that's about it. Maybe there should have been. I'm thinking that there should have been enough currency to unlock a few options, just so you had a bit of differentiation from the get-go. Now, especially for doing multiplayer, because, then you're going to end up like us with, you're going to have two people who look pretty identical in terms of clothing, because that's all that's available. I'll also note, this is because, the way you unlock clothing in this game is, playing the game online. I'm not sure how good you have to be, because
I imagine you could probably also earn money through the campaign mode if you really wanted to.
Right. You earn money by playing the game, by being, and the more you play, the further you go and all that stuff. You can unlock stuff, which is the traditional way to do it. And, HB Studios, if I'm recalling the interview, said, there were no, paid DLC plans, at least in terms of clothing. Maybe, golfers, they seemed a bit iffy on that. But, mind you, the interview was a while ago, so we've gotten some details. They're still there in our archives.
Yeah, because I think they'd have to go through different organizations to use the likeness of famous golfers. It's not the PGA they'd have to specifically go through.
Yeah. But as far as I know, no DLC has showed up. That could change in the future. They didn't seem to be too solid on their DLC plans. Then again, or rather, they were not forthcoming with those things. They might know exactly what they're going to do. They just weren't telling us. Now, as far as the character creation toolset itself, outside of the lack of clothing options at the start, it's fairly robust. And, and you don't have to worry about unlocking, adjusting eyes or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, yeah, it's like it's honestly one of the more robust character creation tool sets I've seen.
Yeah, you can't really make an atrocity or whatever. I mean, you can make it look kind of ugly, but it'll still look human.
I'm like, yeah, it's like you can make your character look uglier than most games, quite honestly, because some like, they've got skincare options.
Yeah.
As like you can have pimples, you can have moles, you can have wrinkles.
Yeah. I'm more talking like, eyes on different levels, your chin's going at the side of your head, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like, but like I said, usually character creation tool sets bent towards the attractive.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and yeah, this is one of those games where you're probably going to spend at least an hour creating a character. Now, granted, in my case, it was just playing around with the dials and see what generated.
Mm-hmm.
Like Petty Fang was a bit more specific with his character.
Yeah.
Now, I suppose we should get to the main caveats. The main central issue that will determine whether or not you should buy this game, and that is: do you like golf? Do you enjoy golf?
Do you intend to enjoy straight golf?
Yeah. Do you want to simulate golf? Then this is the game for you. This game is very much about, being a realistic golf simulator.
Yeah, there aren't any
also
special.
Trying to make it about as skill-based as possible, with the whole analog swing control thing that you actually have to practice and get good at.
Yes, like this isn't something you fire up for a casual drunken PlayStation. This is no Tiger Woods or Mario Golf or anything like that. This is, and there's extensive tutorials. There's a lot of defining shots, and there's a whole bunch of golf rigmarole embedded in this game. Where if you're into golf, this is what you should buy.
They got you.
It's probably a lot cheaper than engaging in real golf. But that's another thing we'll come back to. When we come to pricing. But yeah, if you're only a casual fan or you're not good at golf like we are, stay the fuck away.
Well, I mean, casual fan, it's all right because it's not that expensive, but you have to like straight golf is more the point here.
Yeah, I suppose the other thing, or it's like how much you're willing to learn about golf.
Yeah.
Because once again, this game is, really does seem like a good teaching tool for how the actual game of golf works.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked.
Wind conditions. Wish that real life could project a grid on the green to tell you exactly how it's sloping.
Among other things.
And if I remember from the interview, this is supposed to have a VR either edition or mode at some point, correct?
No. That was a previous iteration of the golf.
Oh.
Yeah, there was a VR golf club that was an extension of the previous version. I'm like, even though this is the Golf Club 3. There have been 2 previous iterations of this franchise.
My mistake.
And they decided to go with the yearly naming scheme with this iteration going forward. I mean, they have HP Studios did say that there are no plans for the Golf Club 2020. But I don't know how much the 2K factor has changed the calculus on that.
Yeah. There could be one already in development now. We don't know.
Yeah, it's and 2K could be funding that.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know. It's just 2K's involvement here is strictly for they're the publishers. They're the ones who's handling PR now, which is why getting codes was took some time, because HB Studios couldn't actually talk about this until the game came out, and they had to hand it off to their PR firm, and it took some time, but we were able to finish this thing, as it were. And on that note, this game has multiplayer, online multiplayer.
Pretty solid online multiplayer, honestly.
Right, and there's a whole bunch of modes involving golf things that are I'll be frank, are beyond my knowledge base. Like, I don't really know what societies are. Like,
I think that might be just like clubs or guilds or whatever, know.
But the real question is, does it have a Niblick?
Well, it's like what a skins match is. Like, I'm not exactly sure what that is. I could probably look it up, but once again, my desire to know the inner workings of golf is honestly kind of non-existent.
That's pretty much what I was getting at. Yeah.
It's like I said, if like, golf people know what this stuff is.
Yeah.
And I do know that they've been clamoring for this stuff to appear in the golf club, and this is the iteration that has done that. So, on top of everything else, it has the most robust online multiplayer. Our task was more to actually test the online multiplayer itself, and not surprisingly, it worked seamlessly.
Mm-hmm. Both in turn mode and what was where we both put it at the same time or whatever.
Yeah, simultaneous turn order mode, and both on and off. We tested that.
Yeah, we had a little bit of weird connection stuff right at the beginning, but it actually reconnected well, if I recall correctly. So
I think that was just Steamworks being Steamworks, because this says use Steamworks for its online backend.
Right. And you can have a society or a club up to 4 players. Like, it's like, I did put in the request for 4 players because, there are 4 of us here, and that's how many people usually test the multiplayer, but we only got the 2 codes. I'm just glad we could test out the multiplayer. Mm-hmm. It's always irksome when, hey, we've got a multiplayer thing, but you only gave us 1 code. Like, well, how am I... It's like, well, that means that the multiplayer may not get tested because, people getting their own supplies is always a tall order. Like,
especially when we're dealing with, games over $30.
Yeah, so let's get to the other big consideration in terms of purchasing, and that is pricing.
I was going to go into controls first, but...
Well, it's like, I want to get pricing out of the way, because this, it's like, I know we usually hold this off till later, but given what this thing is, this is not a casual purchasing decision. The game clocks in at $50. So the good news is that $50 will get you the complete experience. Currently there is no DLC listings of any measure. So the complete package is quite literally the complete package at time of recording. This may change in the weeks and months ahead, but we go by what's there currently. Mm-hmm. And so, since it's $50, you really have to decide whether or not, serious golf is for you. Because, or, you can, I suppose, play it for an hour and do the Steam refund. Mind you, this game is also on the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One.
Small caveat, Fragments Silicon does not condone abuse of the Steam refund system.
Yes. Well, I mean, this is kind of the thing that the Steam refund system is for.
I know, it's just... best to be safe than sorry.
Right. Now, all I'm saying is, yeah, if this game makes you mad about 15 minutes in, you might want to look elsewhere. Because, this game does require dedication. And it's got a price point to match that. It's got a price point to match the content. Like, in terms of graphics, the game uses Unity, though I don't think running Unity is that much of a problem in this day and age.
Yeah, it really depends on the developer.
Yeah, like as far as the actual in-game graphics, well, how do I put this? Yeah, everything looks like a golf course should look like.
I would say the character models their faces aren't great, but at the same time, you won't be seeing them usually in normal gameplay.
I'm not saying that this game looks amazing or anything.
Yeah. Well, it's like the courses designs actually do look pretty good on higher details.
Yeah, mind you, when it comes to like graphics, we're not the Digital Foundry. We don't really have access to the latest 4K ultra setting computers. Like,
hopefully subject to change, but
yeah,
currently no.
Yeah, it's like we roll with what we got. That being said, the game is eminently playable, even on modest systems. Like, music, honestly, the music was enough where I turned it off fairly quickly.
Yeah. Like, honestly, I don't think there is actually much music in the way of actual putting or like actually playing. It was mostly in the music and the menus.
Yeah, it's like that and the commentary.
Oh, the commentary.
Yeah, it's like there is commentary here. Shut them up as soon as you can, because they can get snarky.
Well, shut them up if you're not good at golf. If you're good, if you're good, it's not that bad. But if you're not great or you're learning, shut them up.
I'd still say shut them up, because they're not good. Quite honestly, like, and plus, I guess that's the difference. If you want to simulate a golf broadcast or actually playing golf, I would recommend just turning off the music and the announcers, but leaving the sounds.
Yeah.
Because you'll still get like the ambient sounds, like birds and shit.
Yeah.
And that actually helped the experience in my estimation, because that's the kind of shit you'll actually hear while playing golf. And that's what this game is going for. Now, yeah, the controls themselves. So, gonna be honest, not a fan of this.
Same.
Because, once again, going back to that whole sim route, you either use a mouse or one of the analog sticks off of a controller, and they can be finicky.
Yeah, when you're long range driving, it's fine, but when you're trying to do fine control, it borders on unusable.
Yeah, it's like I think we both had problems, especially when it came to putting.
Yeah.
Like, just finding that level of articulation was difficult. It's like very, very difficult.
Yeah, because there's no feedback until after you've already taken your swing.
So once again, bear that in mind. If unfortunately, I don't like. There's no way to play this with actual motion controls because we're kind of in a post-motion controlled world. At least, I'm like, maybe that's something on the PlayStation, but like the Kinect's not really a thing anymore.
Yeah.
That being said, playing golf with a Kinect was an awful way to do things, because
your best option to play golf is with the Wii remote, or I guess now the Joy-Cons, the Move controllers.
Yeah, or VR controls, because they have the motion controls as well. Motion, like motion controls actually work really, really well with golf. Like, you know, that was proven pretty well as far back as Wii Sports.
Especially if they allow like fairly one-to-one motion.
Granted, that wasn't Wii Sports. I think that you had to wait until Wii Sports Motion. And one of the nifty things with like the Wii U is you could use the gamepad in tandem with the Wii remotes in terms of golf.
Because the gamepad had IR emitters, so it kind of worked like a sensor bar.
Yeah. I know Naka wondered where that went. I know the answer. That went into Wii Sports Club, the Wii Sports remake. So, yeah. There are none of those controls, at least in the PC version. Because, yeah, if you're not really doing VR, you're not going to see motion controls too much on a PC. No. And
that like being said, with it being Unity, they could probably port in at least the ability to use the motion controls from the VR headsets, even if they don't actually go to full-on VR mode.
Probably. But that didn't seem to be in the cards, at least not at that stage of development.
It's something that can happen later on. It's not exclusively locked out. They just need to implement.
Right. And there's also, once again, a very robust course creation tool. Admittedly, didn't really look at that because, yeah, just building a golf course was not in my interest.
Yeah. I don't think any of us literally are familiar enough with golf to know what makes a good course.
Right.
That being said, once you do golf, and I believe it has the same kind of stipulations as other user-generated content. You have to be able to complete the golf course. You know,
which makes sense.
Yeah, call that the Super Mario Maker rule. Like,
fun fact: it's not fun if you build a wall in front of the hole.
Right.
Well, you could use a pitching wedge.
Well, it's I mean,
I know what you mean.
I'd imagine that there's much less in the way of dickish course design when it comes to golf.
As opposed to Kaizo Mario traps.
Yeah, but it could still arise. So, and yeah, you can play the user-generated course, or they got the professional courses there, both in the sense that the HP Studios people developed them, and like actual PGA tour courses.
Yeah, I was about to say these are the career mode has real-world courses in it.
Yeah, I mean, and that is a lot of the appeal of this. I mean, that is why it's called the Golf Club 2019, featuring the PGA Tour. They got that official branding, and they want golf enthusiasts to know they got that branding, because this is basically the successor to the Tiger Woods legacy in that regard. Like, this is the official PGA golf game. And EA used to control that for a number of years, and they just decided it wasn't worth it anymore. And HB picked that up. Once again, that was, I think that was another thing that was during development. But it's, it's actually integrated as opposed to like 2K. Another thing in regards to 2K, the other thing that they are doing is they are going to be providing a retail version of the Golf Club 2019 sometime in the fall. I don't think a release date has been announced for that yet, or pricing. Or, it's like, and also given that this is 2K games, it should be a widely available release. Like, it's not going to be a limited run where this is my presumption, by the way. They could still do this. Like, they could still print up like 5,000 of the Golf Club 2019 on each platform. Still, like, but I do know that they are going to provide a retail version. At least, at least on the consoles. Not sure about the PC, and I'll be honest. If it's the PC, it's probably just going to be like a box.
Or it's probably going to be more in Europe.
Yeah, or if it is a disc, it's just going to be the executable and Steam, because that's how games work in this day and age. At least on the PC, consoles can do that too. Like what is it? Tipping Stars. Like Europe got the box, but it only had a download code. Like it's like if they can still do that. So,
At least it's not the new Tony Hawk game that just has a tutorial on the disc. That's gonna be fun in 20 years when this PSN isn't around anymore.
I mean, there's kind of a concern over many games, that, including many a Switch game, that you have to download a portion of, or one game is on the cartridge and another isn't.
Most games, the first version that these days, the first version that's designed to be playable is like 1.1.1, because the whatever physical thing you get or anything is 1.0, and then it automatically updates with stuff they caught between finish and actual distribution.
All right. Anyway, final thoughts on the golf club.
If you really, really, really like straight golf, go play it. If you don't, look elsewhere.
Yeah, that's
I'm not sure whether it's a really good name or a really bad name.
I'm sure you'll reach the conclusion eventually.
I don't trust myself to do that, because I think the part of me that likes puns is too big.
Wordplay. Anyway, yeah. No real score rating for this one, because it's
none of us could complete the game. We're bad at golf.
Well, it's rather.
Also, it's not really the kind of game you complete.
It's not a completion thing. It's more in terms, it's wants and needs.
Yeah, it's like the bicycle simulator game. It's not in our wheelhouse, so it's not fair for us to really judge it like we would something else.
Right. Like, I mean, the reviews on Steam seem pretty mixed, but those are Steam reviews. Right. But, just, from the layman's perspective, this seems like only the serious should apply. Right. So on that note, that'll about do it. After the break, we'll be reviewing Lamplight City.